I'm in Long Beach for the IndyCar race, and we are gonna do a little trackside tutorial today. We're gonna talk about SLOG3, why you should use it, the settings I use, and how I expose and color grade it. So if that's something you're interested in, stick around and let's get started.
You can see I'm a little underexposed.
Now a big part of log is preservation.
When I pull the camera backwards, I'll have a look at my polarizer as well.
An extremely important setting.
Keep you from flipping the high and the low end of your
One clip can get you to this.
When I first started shooting, log was one of those concepts that was very intimidating to me. It seemed at the time like that took more sort of technological capability than I had in me at the time. But now that I've done this for several years, I realized looking back that that was kind of silly and that it's actually way easier than I thought it was. We all want better quality images, but we get stuck in this sort of spending thousands of dollars thinking that the next piece of camera gear is going to give us a little bit better quality. But at the same time, especially when we're starting out, we don't try to extract the maximum potential from the cameras that we already own. But we are going to fix that. First, I'm going to shoot the start of this race, and then we're going to get into why you should start using log today. Okay, now you might be asking yourself, does SLOG3 make a difference in the quality of the image? And that's absolutely yes, 100% absolutely yes. Shooting log gives you significantly more dynamic range, which is to say that it gives you more information between the dark and the light parts of your image. And it gives you significantly more flexibility in post so that you can push and pull the exposure and the color of your image to get it just how you want it. Now, what exactly does that mean? Now, this shot is from Sony's standard picture profile, but it's been overexposed by 2 stops. When I try to recover the information in this image, this is the absolute best that I can manage. Now, this is another shot from the same exact spot, but this time in SLOG3. This one is also exposed by over 2 stops. But with the log clip, I have much more usable information and I can pull this image back. Now, this is a game changer for an outdoor run and gun sport shooter like me. Now I'm gonna break everything down. First, we're gonna talk about settings, and for that, I'm gonna throw it over to Studio Greg.
Any shot that I've got with either my FX3 or my A7S III has always been in SLOG3. Now, what seems to baffle some people is that I do not use Cine EI. I set my color mode to the sgamut3.cine. I'm just used to using it. I was using it before Cine EI came out, and I find that I don't really have a reason to change. An extremely important setting when you're working in your color profile is to turn your detail all the way down to -7, which is the lowest it can go. In-body camera sharpening, especially on these Sony cameras, is extremely horrible. It makes everything look very, very digital. So I turn all the camera sharpening off in camera and I add it all back in post. I use DaVinci and I find their sharpening is far superior to what you find inside the cameras. Not only that, sharpening is a pretty tough process on the computer inside the camera, so I sort of feel like I am making it a little bit easier on the camera by turning all that sharpening off. I do turn on the gamma assist function, which helps convert the image that's on the back of my screen to Rec 709 so that I'm able to do a quick eye test check and make sure that I'm looking good.
Now a big part of log is preservation, meaning that it's trying to keep you from clipping the high and the low end of your image. It obviously gives you more dynamic range, but that's a big component. And to do this, it has to overexpose the image a little bit, or you'll often hear it referred to as exposed to the right. And basically it does that because it's easier to sort of bring back highlights than it is to bring back shadows. And the easiest way to expose log is with the multimeter. Now, very often they'll tell you to use that on the camera and a +1.3 or +1.7 for SLOG3. The problem with the multimeter is it's using the whole image and not just the subject that you're trying to film. So when I'm all the way pushed in, my multimeter right now is +1.7, and this is a correctly exposed image. I have the track and everything sort of right where I want it. But without changing anything, when I pull the camera backwards, now my multimeter is showing +1 or 0.7, but the exposure in the image on the subject, which for me is the track, is still correct. So I'm going to show you a better way. The way I use it is with the luminance parade built into my monitor. I'll basically frame up my shot, then I try to push that information around by adjusting my exposure. What I'm looking for is to have the bulk of that information. I'll put it right in the middle, and then I'll adjust it up slightly. So I've got my shot framed up here. I'm going to do a pan across this fountain. You can see the bulk of that information right now is right in the middle. I'll basically turn my ND filter, pushing that information just up, just sort of on that 60% line. Now I'm monitoring this in log. If you had a Rec 709 conversion LUT inside of your monitor, the information would be more spread out, but the idea is that the bulk of the information should be just a little above center. If I was using the histogram on the back of my camera, I would want the bulk of that information just to the right of center, hence sort of what we were talking about earlier about exposing to the right. So basically this just makes sure my image is slightly overexposed.
Okay guys, we're gonna take a really quick break in this tutorial to explain something that I'm very excited to talk about. I am opening up for the first time the membership tab of my YouTube page. I have looked to add value to this channel for a long time now, and I've done that with tutorials and vlogs and different things like that, but there are some things that I'm not able to offer in my sort of weekly YouTube uploads. So I think it's the right time to open up my membership tab and offer some new opportunities and new ways to sort of ask questions and learn things for some of the people that are more interested in trying to find a career doing what I'm doing. So that is live on the channel right now. If that is something that you're interested in, feel free to head over to the membership tab. But if not, happy to have you still here on the main channel.
Bad thing about the Long Beach Grand Prix is everything is like a freaking massive walk. So I'm gonna head to another spot on the track. But while I'm doing that, I wanna tell you a little bit about what happens when your graph looks wild. Sometimes you have a graph that has massive amounts of information in it, and that's not always so easy to tell where that sort of bulk data is, where that middle point is. And so basically in those situations, again, log is a lot about preservation. So you just want to make sure that you're not clipping anything. And with that, you have so much latitude and flexibility that you can recover whatever you need so long as you're not clipping anything. So then if your graph looks wild, it becomes about preservation, just making sure that you're not clipping your highlights or clipping your shadows. Outside of that, log is so flexible, you should be able to get anything back. That's a little tip on what happens if your scene is kind of nuts and your graph sort of looks all over the place. Watch my frame rates or camera settings tutorial, you'll know that I don't like to change my ISO from the base settings. So for SLOG3, that's 800. I don't like to change it off of that. And I also don't change my shutter speed, which I try to keep double that of my frame rate. So the first thing I'll do is adjust with my ND filter. And if I have to, then my aperture. So I'm setting up a shot in here. You can see I'm a little underexposed. I'll turn my ND filter up. I'll have a look at my polarizer as well. Make sure I've got that in a good range. A little bit higher. Now I'm ready to get shooting. I am going to mention quickly that I'm using a new variable ND and circular polarizer. In my gear video, I talk about that I'm not very happy with the stuff I have from Polar Pro because the CPL was like extremely hard to turn. So the fine folks at Freewell sent me one of their new kits. First of all, I love, just like the other one, it's magnetic. So it has a sort of ring on it that comes from them and it just magnets right on. Second, the part that I'm really excited about that sort of fixes that pain point for me is their CPL has a little locking ring. So basically how it works is I get to the corner, I unlock the CPL ring, I turn it to where I'm happy, lock it back down, and then I can adjust my ND as needed to get the exposure based on everything that we're talking about today. On top of that, I've lost many lens caps in my day, and this one is another sort of very strong magnetic. It's just right on, and then that's it. This is new to me, so I'm still playing with it, but if this is something that you're interested in, I'll have a link below where you can get one for yourself.
Now we're gonna move on to the final step, how to color grade this stuff. For me, early on, this was sort of the most intimidating part, but as I know now, it's actually extremely easy, and I'm gonna show you how to do it in just a couple clicks. Back in the day, tutorials sort of started with how to adjust your curves and your contrast to bring the blacks all the way down and the whites all the way up. We're not gonna do any of that. There's proper technology now, so we're gonna make this a lot easier on ourselves. I have a lot of color grading tutorials already on my channel, so I'm gonna be brief here, but essentially it's a two-stage process. The first stage is converting your footage into the Rec 709 color space, and the second is actually color grading. So the clip I have here is log straight out of camera. To convert that into Rec 709, I'm going to use DaVinci's color space transform, and you can see my settings to the right here, but essentially that has converted my footage from log into the Rec 709 color space. Basically, you'll just import your camera settings that we talked about earlier, and it will convert your footage perfect every time. After we have it converted, it's time to put the secret sauce on it, which with one click can get you to this. Like I said, I have tutorials breaking down this entire process, all the nodes you see here. Aside from that, I just want to say I'm almost done with version 2 of the LUT, which would give you this exact look. I've refined it a long way from the first one that I released a few years ago. I know I've been saying that forever, but I'm extremely close to getting this whole package out and ready for you guys to download very, very soon. If you want a quick breakdown of each node, what I'm doing here is the first is I'm making my color corrections, which is my exposure. That's what you see here. Making some temperature adjustments, which I was in sunny Florida, so I had it a bit warm. adding mid detail, which is texture in DaVinci Resolve. I have 2 color nodes, which give me that pop of color, power window on the bottom of the frame, and then of course, sharpening. And that's pretty much all it takes. You'll hear people talk about how, you know, they save time if they don't shoot in log, but as you can see with the color space transform here in DaVinci, it really only takes 1 click to get this thing into a nice color space. If you were working in a program like Premiere, you can download the conversion LUT from the camera manufacturer and input that into Lumetric Color as well. That would do the same thing as the CST and DaVinci did for us. 2 different ways to achieve the same goal. So as you can see, nothing too crazy. There's no need to be intimidated by this.
That's going to be all for me for this one. If you like this video or if you want to see more stuff like this, please like the video, subscribe, do the whole thing. Make sure you all follow the vlog. Plenty more to come. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.